Hello everyone, welcome to my small corner of the internet, which is not a corner at all. Make yourselves comfortable. I'm the Blue Book and today we're heading for North Carolina. How long has it been since I've done one of these? A whole year? Holy shit! I'm not surprised. Although to be fair, I did start making a script last year for a book called A Man Called Ova, but I never finished it. I think when I was planning what to draw, I looked at what I was doing and went, well, that fucking sucks. And I just gave up on it. Now, a perhaps not so brief summary for the uninitiated. Where The Crawdads Sing, published in... Why did I write 1018? Published in 2018 by zoologist Delia Owens. If I had the book with me right now, physically, I would make it appear somewhere along the bookshelf, but I don't have it. I forgot I would need it for these, and I insisted that my sister read it. Also, sister, if you're watching this, don't. Why are you doing that to yourself? Go away. Shoo. The video will be here when you've finished the book. To the rest of you who've never read the book, who are not my sister, please stay. Okay, now, no more interruptions. Let's go. Where the Crawdads Sing tells the story of a young girl called Kaya, who is one by one abandoned by her family. First her mother to get out of her abusive marriage, then her oldest brother, next her two oldest sisters, and at last her closest brother, Jody. Now it's only her and her father, who has become, for a while, not as terrible as he used to be. He starts interacting with Kaya like never before, teaching her how to fish, taking her out for food, sitting down at the table for dinners with her. But, predictably, this good period ends when her father starts drinking again, until he too disappears from Kaya's life. All of 10 years old, Kaya is left to fend for herself, and becomes known to the villagers of Barkley Cove as the Marsh Girl. Unfit for society, uneducated and wild, Kaya retreats into herself after she receives nothing but scorn from the village people. She devises ways to earn money for herself and exist within the ever-consuming hold of loneliness that is her life. Eventually, a friend of her brother Jody comes along and inserts himself into her life. Like coaxing a feral cat with treats, Tate Walker befriends Kaya by sharing the same interests in the marsh life that she does. He brings her books, teaches her how to read, and educates her in life, which has become somewhat strange to her. And slowly but surely, their bond with each other strengthens into something more. And while we see Kaya grow up, the story is intermingled with a police case in present time in late 1969. Small-town star Chase Andrew has been found dead, and after minimal investigation, the locals have begun to suspect Kaya. I want to start with a small debate on the genre of the book. What I've seen mainly is that it's a romance mixed with murder mystery. And yeah, there is some murder mystery to it, but I don't really think it's romance. I've seen it described as a coming of age, and yeah, there is also some of that. But I don't agree with either. Hear me out. I think the romance and the coming of age are a side dish to the main course. What that main course is, you might be asking, I've got not a damn clue. Or well, maybe I do have some, but more of that in a bit. For this video, I decided to work with gouache to depict a couple of natural scenes and a cat. This I decided for two reasons. First, I have a great fondness for all things natural in books. Random tangent, but I thought that the first Twilight book by Stephanie Meyer had some lovely natural descriptions. And second, I think nature might be one of the biggest, if not the most important thing about Where the Crawdads Sing, besides loneliness. What I'm trying to say is, nature and loneliness might not be genres, but they are definitely the most important themes of the book. This book is most definitely a love letter to nature as a whole. It is very evident early on in this book that the marsh is a character in of itself. At first, it's her brother Jody who teaches Kaya how to read the signs of birds and the water. But as everyone goes away, she must learn these things on her own. The marsh nurtures her, feeds her, and shelters her. I'm almost certain it's described as being Kaya's mother at one point in the book. She learns from animals the behaviors of humans. She spends, in fact, most of the book relating animal behaviors to the ones she witnesses in people. And these comparisons end up being a very important feature at the end of the story. Now, when I tell you that loneliness permeates every single section of this book, you really need to take my word for it. It's not just that she has been abandoned by her whole family, but Kaya is unable to connect with those around her, and not just the townspeople who are 99% prejudiced idiots, but even those who want to connect with her, like shop owner Jumpin and his wife Mabel. She is so isolated from companionship and civilization that she lacks the skills to even accept good intentions from others. And it's not like she doesn't want company. Time after time, she reminds us how much she yearns for others through the years, but even bringing herself to try is just too hard. The people in this book that form connections with Kaya all approach her, all do this one first step before her, because she just can't bring herself to do it. It is also a very common description in the book to see Kaya behaving like an animal, hiding amidst the brambles and observing people from far away. Let's talk about some of the characters now. Of course, Kaya is a very interesting main character, but I do think I talk quite a bit about her throughout the video, so I'm going to skip her for this section. What I will say is, man, it would be such a dream being a naturalist like her. For those of you here who haven't read the book or seen the movie, that's what her job ends up being eventually. And for those of you who don't know what a naturalist is, it's a person who studies and illustrates natural history. So again, what a dream. Our main boy, Tate Walker, is a kind, curious soul. I quite like him. I like the idea of this little young boy exploring the marsh on his own and having dreams of becoming a scientist one day. He's instinctively kind and good, and I'm just naturally drawn to characters like this. In the book, once he begins going out with Kaya in a more romantic way, and they began exploring their emotions, I think it's kind of natural that he got scared of what it would mean if he decided to stay with her. And so Tate has a taste of real life when he goes to college and decides to vault far, far away from anything that might lead him to a long-lasting relationship with Kaya. And Tate, knowing how afraid and damaged she is by people abandoning her, abandons her again. Zero explanation, zero communication, and no matter how much I like Tate as a character, that really sucks. On the other side of the ring, we have Chase Andrews. Yes, he is your traditional manly man from a small town from the 1960s. Yes, he has little in common with Kaya and is after her just like in the sense like you find the strange bug interesting. And I do think there is real love that Chase has for Kaya. In the story, after Tate leaves Kaya, she needs something normal. She needs some form of stability and connection. And Chase is giving that to her. Like, he's such a manly man from the 1960s. But I thought at one point, I really thought that maybe Kaya needed any form of stability, even if it was Chase Andrews. And she stays with him, even if she never really gets to actually love him like she loved Tate. Because again, he offers her something she's been yearning for years. So yeah, at one point I thought, look, Tate blew it. He did the most assholey move he could have pulled with Kaya. And Kaya deserves normal. And Chase is giving that to her. All that said, Chase Andrew tried to sexually A Kaya and was a serial cheater, so he had it fucking coming. I don't feel particularly bad about the fact that he died. Only that it led to Kaya being a murder suspect. One of my favorite bits of this book was seeing Kaya's brother, Jody, find his way back into her life. For some reason, even though he's very little in the book, I really love Jody's character. As I said, he's not in a lot of the story, but his presence is very important to Kaya. He's the one sibling she actually remembers, and he's always with her in her mind when she boats through the marsh and remembers what he taught her. Speaking of characters I didn't talk a lot about too, Jumpin is a great character and I also really like him. But the script was getting kind of big, I'll be honest. So sadly Jumpin and Mabel did not get a section for this video. But for those of you who didn't read the book or watch the movie, Jumpin is a kind old black man who tries to do his best to help Kaya whenever he can. And even at the end of the book, Mabel, Jumpin's wife, tells Kaya, "He thought of you like a daughter." And Kaya answers right back, "He was my pa," which almost got a tear out of me. Some final thoughts. I think as a general rule, I connect a lot with loneliness, like as an emotion. So Kaya's perspective always held in my attention. The yearning she has to be close to others and how hard she finds to get it. It's very sad. It's quite the sorrowful book. What connection she has, she gets from the marsh and nature and the seabirds that she feeds. There is a lot in this story about her bonds with nature not being enough. But at the end of the story, they are. She comes to this inner peace that she's enough for herself. And there is some beauty to be found there. But it's also incredibly sad. The book reminds us again and again just how much of a pack animal we are as humans, and how much women need cliques and groups to be happy and fulfilled. I know it's not the same, but if you've ever been a woman in a situation where you are the only woman and you're surrounded by men, it can take a toll. Just bear with me, I have a small anecdote. I used to work at this place, at this office. It was very small, but all my colleagues were men. It was fine, we had a good time and whatever. But At one point, two girls came there to do social service, I think. And I realized just how starved I was for female company. It's true, I suppose it would be the same the other way around, like if you're a man, you're surrounded by only women. But yeah, it's true. Women do need women to be happy and fulfilled, I think. Opinion, from my humble perspective, at least. So yeah, there is truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that. And even if we need, like, it's necessary to be happy with who we are, to be happy to, like, being alone. Loneliness can be an all-consuming thing. Now, if you've read this book or seen the movie, you know what happens at the very, very end of it. Normally, for these reviews, I wouldn't mind saying what I think about the end. But if you've never done either, I'm going to do you the kindness of not telling you, because it is just that good. Also, if you've seen the film, or know what I'm talking about, holy fucking shit, what a banger of an ending! I did see the movie first. It's really what pulled me in. After I left the cinema, I just immediately wanted to buy the book. It's a good adaptation, I think. I haven't gone back to it since I first saw the movie in theaters. But there's a very slight change that I think it's very important. It's not super noticeable or anything, but the framing of the movie on Kaya's loneliness and isolation, it's definitely more angled towards a whimsical view of these things. And while I love that as a concept for stories, it is most definitely not how the book treats these things. It treats them as very crippling situations that they actually are. Kaya is not okay for the whole book, except for like the last 5 pages or something. And I know I'm always bringing up movie adaptations when I'm doing these reviews. And these are not videos about movie adaptations, nor will they be. But gosh darn it, I can't help it, I just love movies so much. On a happier note, this was a very beautiful book to me. And it all comes back again to the description of nature. It grabs me by the whenever a book has it in abundance. Just like Lord of the Rings has done in the past, nature, more than anything, immerses me the most into a story. It is one of the only things that I feel like it makes me... You always hear people say, "Oh, I felt like I was inside of the book." And nature does that for me. Description of nature makes me feel like I am inside a book. And now, I do hope I'll be able to see the marshes and beaches of North Carolina someday in the future. These are the sections of the book which inspired the small paintings I did for this video. Autumn was coming. The evergreens might not have noticed, but the sycamores did. They flashed thousands of golden leaves across the stale gray skies. Late one afternoon, after the lesson, Tate lingered when he should have left. He and Kaya sat on a big log in the woods. She'd finally asked the question she'd wanted to ask for months. "Tate, I appreciate you teaching me to read and all those things you gave me. But why do you do it? Don't you have a girlfriend or somebody like that?" "Nah. Well, sometimes I do. I had one, but not now. I like being out here in the quiet, and I like the way you're so interested in the marsh, Kaya. Most people don't pay it any attention except to fish. They think it's wasteland that should be drained and developed. People don't understand that the most sea creatures, including the very ones they eat, need the marsh." People who couldn't find seats bunched up along the back wall, along the sides by the tall windows, fidgeting, muttering, gossiping. The Marsh girl put up for murder. It didn't get any better than this. Sunday Justice, the courthouse cat. His back black, his face white, with a black mask around green eyes. Stretched out in a puddle of sunlight in one of the deep window sills. A courthouse fixture for years, he cleared the basement of rats and the courtroom of mice, earning his place. Kaya is 14 and spending an afternoon on the beach feeding the gulls. She's wearing one of her ma's old dresses that didn't use to fit her, but now stretches tightly across her chest. While paying attention to the gulls, she hears something behind her and quickly tries to determine what it was. Sneaking into the woods, she tracks what she thinks is the source of the sound, eventually seeing a boy moving through the trees. For a moment, they make eye contact before she ducks behind a bush and then runs, her face low to the ground. Accelerating now more gently, she steered around the old fallen cypress, put beyond the piled sticks of the beaver lodged. Then, holding her breath, she steered towards the lagoon entrance, almost hidden by brambles. Ducking beneath the low-hanging limbs of giant trees, she churned slowly through the thicket for more than 100 yards, as easy as turtles slide from waterlogs. A floating mat of duckweed colored the water as green as the leafy ceiling, creating an emerald tunnel. Finally, the trees parted, and she glided into a place of white sky and reaching grasses, and the sounds of cawing birds. The view a chick gets when reckoned, when it finally breaks its shell. Kaya tooled along, a tiny speck of a girl in a boat, turning this way and that as endless estuaries branch it and braid it before her. Keep left at all the turns going out, Jody had said. She barely touched the throttle, easing the boat through the current, keeping the noise low. As she broke around the strand of reeds, a white-tailed doe with last spring's fawn stood lapping water. Their heads jerked up, slinging droplets through the air. Kaya didn't stop, or they would bolt. A lesson she'd learned from watching wild turkeys. If you act like a predator, they act like prey. Just ignore them. Keep going slow. She drifted by, and the deer stood as still as a pine until Kaya disappeared beyond the salt grasses. And that's it. That was Where the Crawdads Sing, from me to you. I usually don't know what I'm going to do next, but oddly enough, I think I do this time. If everything goes according to plan, of course. Hopefully on late February, early March, I'll be doing different seasons. That's right, boys, it's Stevie King's season again in February for some reason. Until then, thank you for joining me. Having concrete ideas is hard, and articulating them is even harder. I possess neither the ability to be concrete or articulate, but I am trying my best. Have a very good day. Oh, look, shit, I'm going to talk about the movie again. Taylor Swift's song that she did for the movie is amazing. I am not a Swiftie, but that may be one of my favorite songs from her.